Congresswoman, the president is in Texas today. He's going to talk about oil. If you're elected to the Senate, what is Texas's role in energy going to be?
For me, it has always been making sure that we respect and honor all energy. Most people only talk about oil and gas when they talk about Texas, but the reality is that we actually do all energy big, whether it's wind or whether it's solar. We actually are an energy capital. I know a lot of people get confused by that because our grid is lacking. So I think that we need to consistently make sure that we're respecting the environment and that we're being really smart in transitioning, but we can do both and do both well.
You talked a lot about the hope that you have to turn Texas blue. What was your message to the crowd today in that?
Yeah, listen, this is all about making sure we vote. When we look at a state like Georgia, we know that Georgia has been who Georgia is, but what they were able to do, they were able to increase voter participation. That's what it's about. Texas has historically been one of the lowest voter turnout states in the entire country. We typically only turn out a little bit more than 50% of our electorate. If we can start to turn out people in higher numbers, then we'll see what we've been seeing all throughout early voting. We can actually outvote the Republicans. So that's my message, and I think that people are inspired every day that they wake up and see that somehow in some of these counties, even when we look at Tarrant County, they are consistently outvoting the Republicans. I personally predict that Tarrant County is going to be the last big county that is finally going to go blue. Anybody else? We good?
Yeah, so if elected, what is one issue affecting East Texas that you would like to prioritize in your first 100 days in the Senate?
In the first 100 days, listen, it is hard to keep up with everything that goes on, especially under this administration. But I think just generally speaking, as someone who lived in rural East Texas, I know how important, number one, healthcare is. Right now, we know that our rural hospitals are shuttering at an alarming rate. I used to wake up, and even back then, when I would wake up, I would have to drive to Shreveport or Dallas before I could find a healthcare specialist for certain things. I believe that healthcare should be accessible to all. So number one, we have to increase access as it relates to telehealth, which is one of the things that a lot of providers were complaining about, because during the pandemic, there was so much leeway given to make sure that people could actually access healthcare in that way. And now the reimbursement schedules don't look the same now that we're out of the pandemic. So we've got to do the creative things to make sure that people aren't necessarily reducing their life expectancy just because of their zip code. In addition to that, as someone who served on the Agriculture Committee, I can tell you that our farmers and ranchers right now, they're really struggling, and it impacts everyone. So living in Texarkana, Mount Pleasant was right down the road. So Mount Pleasant had the chicken plant. And so right now, with us having record numbers of bankruptcies being filed by our farmers and ranchers, this is impacting everyone. And so I went down to Amarillo, where they're shuttering, or they're actually laying off about 1,700 workers in their beef processing, because right now they don't have the beef to process, and that then impacts, I think they said that they provide beef for 400 Wendy's restaurants. So I think just digging in on my agricultural roots, understanding that they are struggling right now because we've not passed a farm bill. It's about 3 years behind on a 5-year farm bill, and knowing that their inputs have gone up. These are things that impact the entirety of the region because it is such a big part of the region. Yes.
So I went to Telerico's rally not too long ago. He talked about billionaires taking money from the people. How do you plan on getting that money back to the people in Texas?
Yes, so very good question. So the reconciliation package that was passed, unfortunately, I don't think we spent enough time talking about the really bad impacts of that. We talked about Medicaid and Medicare. They cut about $1 trillion out of health care. And so this was the largest transfer of wealth from working class and poor folk up to rich folk that we've ever seen in the history of this country. They decided that they needed to cut their access to health care so that they could then go ahead and pocket more dollars in tax cuts. But the reality is that we need rich folk as well as we need those corporations to pay their fair share. In addition to that, our entire country does better when we have a healthier workforce. Like, that's just the bottom line. You want healthy people. That means that there's less of a drain overall on our healthcare system. Because just because you cut healthcare doesn't mean that people somehow get healthy. I do want to be clear, like, those people will still show up. We still are going to pay for them when they show up to the hospitals. But now when are they showing up? They're not getting the preventative care. So this is really just stupid, and it's cruel. So we need to reverse what took place in that reconciliation package. In addition to that, we did not talk about the fact that they actually cut cut SNAP benefits under that package, which again, people only get $6 a day to eat under SNAP as it is. And so that's another way of taking from people that are really struggling and giving it to the rich. And the final point that I'll make is that we also did not stress that $75 billion was also transferred to ICE over 4 years. So the reason that you're seeing them have all this money for these $50,000 bonuses so that you become ICE officers, so that they can go and buy all of these manufacturing sites, it is because of the $75 billion. So right now, as we're in a partial government shutdown, we're fighting them, specifically in DHS, about giving additional dollars to ICE. So we need to claw back those dollars. I promise you, the average American is saying, you know what? You had $75 billion to give over to ICE. We got something else that we want you to do with those dollars. And so I think that we just need to reverse the effects of the reconciliation package.